Hello and welcome to Smart with Points, the podcast that helps you travel the world using miles and points. I'm Jack, and today I'm genuinely excited to tell you about something that's just landed and could save you a serious chunk of miles if you're planning a trip to Asia this spring. Singapore Airlines has just released their March 2026 spontaneous escapes deals, and there are some absolute crackers in there. We're talking London to Singapore in economy for just 30,800 KrisFlyer miles one way. If you've been hoarding Amex membership rewards points wondering when to use them, this might just be your moment. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive into what makes this month's deals so special. First, let me explain what spontaneous escapes actually are, because if you're new to Singapore Airlines' KrisFlyer program, this might sound a bit mysterious. Every single month, Singapore Airlines releases a list of discounted award flights through their KrisFlyer program. They offer 30% off their Saver award rates across selected routes in economy, premium economy, and business class. It's basically their way of filling seats on flights that have spare capacity, and for those of us who can be flexible with our travel dates, it's genuinely one of the best recurring deals in the points and miles world. Now there is a catch, and it's an important one. These tickets are non-refundable and non-changeable once you've booked them, so you really need to be certain about your travel plans before you commit. I strongly recommend getting travel insurance that covers miles and points bookings, just in case something unexpected happens. Let me give you the key details for this March 2026 promotion. You're getting 30% off KrisFlyer Saver award rates. The booking window is from the 13th of February until the 28th of February 2026. The actual travel period is the 1st through the 31st of March 2026. You can only book through singaporeair.com or the Singapore Air mobile app. There's absolutely no flexibility. These are non-refundable and non-changeable, and there are blackout dates that vary by route, so you'll need to check the full list carefully. The seats are released on a first-come, first-served basis, so if something catches your eye, don't hang about. Let's cut straight to what matters most for us here in the UK. The headline deal is London to Singapore in economy for 30,800 KrisFlyer miles one way. That's down from the standard 44,000 miles. Singapore Airlines operates multiple daily flights from Heathrow on their A380, 777-300ER and A350 fleet, so you've got a solid choice of aircraft. The blackout dates kick in from the 18th of March onwards, so you'll want to aim for early to mid-March travel if you can. Even in economy, Singapore Airlines is a step above most carriers. You're getting decent food, good entertainment, and a generally pleasant experience. If you're planning a trip to Southeast Asia or Australia, this could serve as a fantastic positioning flight. If London doesn't work for your dates, several other European cities also feature in economy at the same 30,800 miles rate. We're talking Amsterdam, Barcelona, Brussels, Copenhagen, Frankfurt, Milan, Munich, Paris, Rome, and Zurich. Some of these also appear in premium economy at 52,150 miles, notably Brussels, Copenhagen, Frankfurt, Munich, and Zurich. This is handy if you're already planning a European hop with Avios before connecting onto Singapore. Now, unfortunately, London doesn't feature in business class this month. It rarely does during popular travel periods, since Singapore Airlines uses spontaneous escapes to fill underperforming routes. However, there are still some absolutely cracking business class deals from Singapore onward if you're building a multi-stop itinerary. Singapore to Bali is available for just 15,400 miles in business class. This is an absolute steal. Singapore Airlines' regional business class on the 787-10 or A350 is a lovely experience for a short hop to Bali. At this price, it's a no-brainer. Singapore to Bangkok is 17,500 miles. Another brilliant deal for a short-haul business class experience on the 787-10. Singapore to Brisbane or Cairns is 50,400 miles. If you fancy continuing to Australia, this represents solid value for a medium-haul business class flight. Singapore to Darwin is 29,750 miles. This is a lesser-known route that offers great value in business class on the 737 MAX. and Singapore to Delhi is 31,500 miles, operated on the A380 with the excellent 2017 business class product. This is one of the standout deals if availability lines up. Beyond the business class options, some of the best economy deals from Singapore are ideal for extending a trip after arriving from the UK. Singapore to Bali in economy is just 5,600 miles. Yes, you read that right. A one-way flight to Bali for fewer than 6,000 miles is exceptional value. Singapore to Bangkok or Phuket is 9,100 miles. Thailand on the cheap with Singapore Airlines. Singapore to Sydney is 20,300 miles on the A380, no less. It is subject to blackout dates, but worth checking. Singapore to Johannesburg is 22,400 miles, an interesting option for those eyeing a South Africa trip. And Singapore to Dubai is also 22,400 miles, which is useful for a stopover en route back to the UK. Here's something really interesting. Singapore Airlines operates a unique Fifth Freedom route between Frankfurt and New York JFK. This month, it's available in both economy at 19,250 miles and premium economy at 39,900 miles. It's a fantastic way to cross the Atlantic on a top-tier airline at discounted rates, and you can even combine it with a cheap Avios flight from London to Frankfurt to make it work from the UK. Now let's talk about how you actually earn KrisFlyer miles from the UK. Singapore Airlines KrisFlyer is a transfer partner of American Express UK Membership Rewards at a ratio of 3 membership rewards points to 2 KrisFlyer miles. That's effectively 1,000 membership rewards equals 667 KrisFlyer miles. It's not the most generous ratio, but for deals like these, the maths can still work out well. To illustrate, the London to Singapore economy deal at 30,800 KrisFlyer miles would require approximately 46,200 Amex membership rewards points. If you're holding the Amex Gold or Amex Platinum, that's very achievable, especially if you've recently earned a welcome bonus. Another option is transferring Marriott Bonvoy points to KrisFlyer at a ratio of 3-1, with a bonus of 5,000 miles when you transfer 60,000 Bonvoy points in a single transaction. This can be useful if you're sitting on a large Bonvoy balance, though it's generally not the most efficient use of hotel points. So what's my take? Is it worth it? I've been keeping an eye on spontaneous escapes for a while now, and this month's list is decent, particularly the London inclusion in economy. We don't always see London on the list, so when it does appear, it's worth paying attention. The real sweet spot for UK travellers is combining a discounted London to Singapore flight with one of the cheap onward connections. Imagine flying London to Singapore for 30,800 miles, then hopping to Bali for just 5,600 miles. That's London to Bali for 36,400 KrisFlyer miles in economy on one of the world's best airlines. For context, a standard British Airways economy redemption to Bali using Avios would set you back 40,000 plus Avios one way, since BA doesn't fly there directly and would likely involve a less comfortable routing. That said, the non-refundable, non-changeable restriction is the biggest drawback. If there's any chance your plans might shift, this isn't the deal for you. I've seen too many people book spontaneous escapes on a whim, only to regret it when dates change. Make sure your plans are locked in before committing. Let me give you a few practical booking tips to help you secure the best deals. First, search for one person first. This maximizes your chances of seeing promo availability, as seats are limited and searching for 2 or more passengers requires that many promo seats on the same flight. Book one-way tickets. If the discount only applies in one direction, book 2 separate one-way tickets. You'll get the 30% discount on one leg and pay the standard saver rate on the other, which still saves you 15% overall. Use the award calendar. Singapore Airlines booking interface lets you view a month at a glance, making it easy to spot dates with promo availability. Look for the promo fare category. This sits alongside Saver, Advantage, and Access when you search. If it doesn't appear, that specific flight's spontaneous escapes allocation has sold out, though it can reappear later. And transfer miles before booking. Allow time for Amex UK transfers to reach your KrisFlyer account. While Amex to KrisFlyer transfers are typically processed within a few days, don't leave it to the last minute. Here's a clever tip if you already have a booking. If you've already booked a KrisFlyer award on a flight that's now featured in Spontaneous Escapes, you can potentially rebook at the lower rate. The trick is to book the new promo fare first. You'll need enough miles in your account for a second booking. Then cancel the original. Don't cancel first, because the promo space might vanish while you're waiting for the refund to process. So the bottom line is this: Singapore Airlines Spontaneous Escapes remain one of the best monthly promotions in the loyalty world. And this March edition has some genuinely strong deals for UK travellers. London to Singapore at 30,800 miles in economy is the headline, but the real value comes from stacking it with cheap onward connections to Southeast Asia, Australia, or even South Africa. If you can travel in March and your dates are firm, head over to the Singapore Airlines Spontaneous Escapes page and see what's available. Remember, you have until the 28th of February to book, but the best availability won't last long. Thank you so much for listening to Smart with Points. If you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe directly on our website at smartwithpoints.co.uk. We bring